Hello, this is Chaplain Ivan, and today, as we all know, is Thanksgiving Day. It's one of the great features of America that Thanksgiving is not only a day by day reality, but it's a political testimony that a country should be founded and based on the idea that we have a God to give thanks to is unique to America. Canada has copied us, but it belongs to us as a nation to be a Thanksgiving people. I lived in New Zealand for many years and we had no such institution. So it's a unique thing about America that I've always appreciated since I came here in 1975. Today, I thought I would just share with you a little article that is written by a friend that I know, and it's called Word of the Week. Thanks. That sounds right, doesn't it? Word of the Week. Thanks. You may know Rudyard Kipling, and Rudyard Kipling was a great British poet and a novelist and a short story writer in the late 19th and 20th centuries, and well known for his fictional work, The Jungle Book, and another poem called If. Kipling received the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1907. And this poet laureate earned a great deal of money from his literary works. And it spawned criticism in many ways in British media. So, hoping for a story one day, a newspaper reporter once approached him and said, "Now, Mr. Kipling, I just read that somebody calculated that of all of your written works, when they're reduced to the money that you have made from them, you have earned $100 per word." Kipling raised his eyebrows and said, "Really? I certainly wasn't aware of that." The reporter reached into his pocket and pulled out a $100 bill and gave it to Kipling, and perhaps cynically said to him, "Well, look, here's a $100 bill, Mr. Kipling. Why don't you give me one of your $100 words?" Kipling looked at the $100 bill for a moment. He took it, he folded it up, and he put it in his pocket, and then he said, "Thanks." As we approach Thanksgiving in the USA, this word is our word of the week. Thanks. And the words thanks, thankful, thanksgiving are found over 100 times in the Bible. The exaltation to give thanks is found 40 times. 5 times in Psalm 107, the psalmist exclaimed, "Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness." God's goodness, you know, is daily witnessed in our lives, from the beauty of creation to the pleasure of our relationships to spiritual blessings that we have in Jesus Christ. God blesses us in so many ways. A poet once expressed this in a poem he wrote called "Thank You, God, for 100 Things." So I'm going to read this poem to you now. Thank you, God, for 100 things, for the flower that blooms, for the bird that sings, for the sun that shines and the rain that drops, for ice cream and raisins and lollipops. Thank you, God, for the gift of time, for the clocks that tick and the bells that chime, for days gone by and future cheers, and seasons and moments, for hours and years. Thanks for people who give life pizzazz, for folks who play sports and who act and play jazz, for friends and for families, for folks of all races, for hands that give help and for bright smiling faces. Thanks for the planet you give us, our home, for the sky with its clouds, for the ocean's white foam, for the creatures and the critters, the lakes and falls and mountains, for hills and for valleys, for canyons and mountains. Thank you, God, for the gift of your Son, for the love Jesus shared, for the battle he won o'er death, for the promise that he would be ever near to lead and to guide and to hold us so dear. Thank you, God, for 100 things, for autumn and pumpkins, for dragonfly wings, for Thanksgiving dinners, for seasides and shores, for 100 things and 1,000 things more. The Apostle Paul proclaimed that prayer should be marked with thanksgiving. Be anxious for nothing, he said, but in everything by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Thanksgiving begins and ends with God. We thank God for who he is, our Creator, our benefactor, the giver and sustainer of life. Our God, you know, is a beneficial God, and we should be grateful to him. When we thank God for our blessings, we demonstrate a recognition of the source of our blessings. When we thank God, we show a grateful heart. When we thank God, we admit our need for someone greater in our lives. We are humbled by our own inadequacy. You know, several years ago there was a cartoon that featured a bewildered-looking fellow sitting at a Thanksgiving table loaded with turkey, dressing, hot rolls, the trimmings. And the caption read, "Elvin the atheist realized he was at his lowest point. He felt grateful, but had no one to thank." Christians know who to thank. As we approach today and all that lies in front of us, let us be enjoying a day of relaxation, a bounty of food, and good times with family and friends. And in it all, may we honestly, sincerely, and humbly give thanks. Good day, and I trust you have a great day.